One night, me and my two brothers and cousin were hungry, and we decided to go downstairs to get something to eat. And I knew we were going to be down a while, so I decided to turn on the TV. While I was looking for the remote, my dog barked randomly at the backyard door and kept staring and barking at it. His tail was also tucked in for some reason. I don't really know why. And it was a really dark night, so we couldn't even see anything out the window of the backyard door. So I turned on the light and looked outside, and I swear I saw a tall black figure in the corner of my fence. I got scared and immediately told my cousin and brothers. When they went to go check outside, nothing was there, and I swear the figure was completely dark and looked distorted. So I tried ignoring it and kept looking for the remote, but then the TV turned on itself and it was just static. I don't have any idea how it turned on itself. But then it went to normal channels and I found the remote between the cushions. After that, my dog barked again at the backyard door. So I turned on the light again and looked outside. I saw a big-ass tall figure getting closer to the backyard door. So I was in fear and didn't know what to do, so I decided just to tell my brothers and cousin to hurry up and go back upstairs so that I can go to sleep. I slept and woke up next morning and found out my dog was barking again at the backyard door again. So I looked outside since it was morning, and the figure was hiding in the trees. I swear when it noticed I saw it just ran away so quickly to the point where I got scared and told my parents. They said that I just probably had a nightmare when I went to sleep, and said I was just imagining things after the nightmares. I didn't have a nightmare. And when I was downstairs all alone watching TV in the afternoon, my dog started to bark once again, so I decided not to check out the backyard door and ignore it. But then I heard tapping on the window. That's when I got scared and bolted upstairs and got into my room and hid under the covers. After that day, I haven't seen anything outside and nothing suspicious anymore. And this happened when I was 8 to 7 years old. But one thing I remember the most is the part where my dog started to bark down the hallway downstairs. And that's when I decided not to go downstairs alone anymore. I still don't know what it was or anything really. But after a month, my dog finally stopped barking and everything went back to normal. Hopefully.
A former co-worker of mine told me a story about driving north of Gallup one night and saw a woman dancing by the side of the road. But did Ewan realize what he'd seen until he was past the curve where he'd seen her? He said he then remembered watching her do this whole dance routine and that it seemed like he had been watching for a long time. Way longer than it would have taken to have driven past the place where he allegedly saw her. He wondered if he'd fallen asleep driving. Said it was terrifying, and he floored it for the rest of his drive, trying to figure out if he was awake or had accidentally taken a drug or something. I don't believe in paranormal stuff really, but it was kind of a freaky story.
One night I was sitting in my room with my cousin. My room is on the 4th floor, so it's practically impossible for anyone to be at the balcony door. Out of nowhere we started hearing knocks, 3 sharp, deliberate taps. Knock, knock, knock. We froze. At first we thought maybe it was our imagination, but the sound came again. We checked outside immediately, but the balcony was completely empty. No wind, no loose objects, nothing. Yet the knocks continued, always 3, always perfectly spaced. It only happened that one night about 4 months ago, but even now whenever we meet, we always talk about it.
My ex-sister's 4-year-old son would wake up in the middle of the night laughing and jibber-jabbering in his bed. When his mother would go to check on him and ask who he was talking with, he would point to nothing and say, "The man." Other times he might refuse to walk upstairs, and when asked, he would point to the top and say, "The man," again. The above I was told by ex's sister. This is my own personal experience in that same house around the same time period. When the above was happening, I stayed in this house many times over years. Slept in the living room on the 1st floor. The kids' toys were there in bins. Some would randomly turn on in the middle of the night, like a fire truck or a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle that would make noise when you press a button or move it a certain way. I'd usually get up, spooked, rummage through the bins to find the offending toy, and move its power selector switch to water off. There was an alphabet board that started sounding out letters one night after I had already powered down a Mutant Ninja Turtle. I wish I had maintained composure enough to listen to what, if anything, was being spelled out rather than freaking the F out and pulling the batteries. I stopped falling asleep to ghost hunters after that.
I remember a time when I was in elementary school. I remember sitting downstairs alone at 7 p.m. on the 1st floor living room studying for some 4th or 5th grade science test I had the next day. The living room door was open, And while I was studying sitting on the coach, I heard a gentle woman's voice call my name. I looked up, scanned the room, and no one was there, yet knew the voice came from where the living room door was situated. Yet when I looked there, saw no one there. I quickly dismissed it as my own imagination and didn't give it much thought, and continued to study. Just a few minutes later, I hear the voice echo my name again. Yet this time the voice was notably closer, now inside the living room. This time I kind of freaked out. Yet I looked around and saw no one there, and again just dismissed it as my mind playing some tricks on me. So after calming down, continued to study, and just 2-3 minutes later, I hear my name being mentioned again. Yet this time, heard it directly whispered in my right ear, as if a person's mouth was right next to my ear. I even felt this air travel through my ear canal. Felt very ticklish. In that moment, I flung the science textbook in the air, then quickly ran upstairs. Luckily, I still managed to do well on that science test.
EF38 went on a ghost tour last year. It was for a friend's birthday. We were just looking for something fun to do, and she's into history and architecture, so we thought it would be cool to check out some supposedly haunted old houses. It was 4 of us, my girlfriend and I, plus our 2 husbands. Ghost tour starts and the host gives each group a little pendant. I don't know what else to call it. It was a chain with a piece of polished stone attached. Host said it was to pick up the energy's presence of the ghosts. I'll be honest, I was not thinking we were going to encounter anything. I'm not saying I don't believe in this stuff. I just wasn't expecting anything besides seeing some creepy old houses. I felt a little silly carrying this pendant around. Okay, so we're walking. We're all kind of taking turns holding the pendant, and all of a sudden it starts to move when I hold it. It was subtle at first. I thought maybe I was making it move. I would pass it over to my friend and it would go still. Every time the thing would be in my hand again, it would start swing more aggressively. It actually felt like someone was tugging on it. My husband didn't believe it was moving on its own and thought I was playing a trick on everyone. I was absolutely not. The others kind of just gave up and told me I need to be the pendant keeper because clearly I'm getting a lot of action. I swear on my life that by the end of the tour this thing was whirling around so fast it was insane. My hand was still as a statue and this pendant was flying around. I had the most calm, serene feeling the whole time. Not scared, no anxiety, just pure calm, that everything was okay. It was so crazy and definitely the creepiest thing I've ever experienced.